Welcome to Ego Netcast. I am Martin Lindeskog. Hi, Carina Ridenius.
Hi, Martin. It's nice to be in your pod. Thank you for inviting me.
Great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. It's a little bit chilly today, but it's okay.
Yeah, we have a great summer here in Gothenburg, Sweden, and now it's probably getting to autumn, so fall forward here.
Yes,
I
exactly.
did a search on your name, Carina Ridenius, and then I first did it on Google, on the Ego search, and I found 1,530 results or hits. And first, your website came up, that is mainly in Swedish, PIK.nu. And then I found, like we're in Sweden, I have something similar to the Yellow Pages, and also another one on more information. And then the result is coming to you on to be a speech or talk. How do you say? Public speaker
Public
service.
speaker.
So
Yeah.
Swedish speakers, and then it came up a trustee position that you have in Gothenburg city, and then another public speaking service called Skills Partner, and then information about the western region here in of Sweden. So that was pretty interesting to see these results. And then I compared it with DuckDuckGo that I use as an alternative search engine. And there I found top of the list. It's Google is a list that they say how many hits you get, but on DuckDuckGo you get a rolling list, so you don't see actually how many hits it is. It's more like a scrolling. You could scroll forever, I think, almost until the search is ending. But there you have Instagram first, and then your Facebook account. Creative Mornings you have attended.
Yes,
you have a profile there. Yeah. And then it came my website, Ego Netcast, that I mentioned that I would have you as a guest. Then a Twitter tweet from somebody. And then my blog post, my first blog on Blogspot, egoist.blogspot.com came up because I had, when I do a episode here of this show, it automatically creates a post on Ego blog or egoist.blogspot.com. And that's through the service Libsyn. So it creates automatically a post on my blog there.
Okay.
And due to the fact that I have had it since 2002, I have created several thousand posts there, so it shows up in the search engine. And of course, Google is now owning Blogger, the blog service. So of course they rank it probably a bit higher. Maybe I said too much now, but yeah, it ranks good in their own search engine. And then at the end there, or not at the end, but down here the list, I saw an interesting thing that maybe you could tell the listeners about your background. Then I found a very good source to get a backlink, and that's the education domain, so .edu. There on opera.stanford.edu. There you found the homepage of opera singers. So if you search on DuckDuckGo, they find a listing on opera singers. Could you tell the listeners more about that? And you have a story there also about your website.
Yes, I have. It's rather funny this, because I used to say I did many things, many stupid things before, but I was active before Facebook with this. So I got my first website in 1994 already.
Wow.
And at that time, I was an opera singer. I started my career as a singer and as a vocal coach. So I was one of the first singers in Sweden having a website. And people around me asked all the time, why should you have this website? Oh, why? And I said, that's my storefront. And no one understood me. And a year later, in 95, I came abroad and I sang in Europe. And there I met people from all over the world. And now my website, it was something natural. When I was talking to Americans and Japanese people, it was natural to have a website. And I can tell you, this website got my first fan, by the way. It was a Japanese woman who had heard me singing in Salzburg in Austria. And she contacted me by email and through my website. So at that time, I was really early and it was so exciting. And I am glad that I was by the first singers in Sweden who did this. But nowadays you find me on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, and nowadays I have another career with my company.
Yeah, and that's development. So that, do you know if that site is all around still? Because they had this listing, so your name popped up, but I didn't click on because it was a long list of from A to Z. Or maybe if I have a Swedish singers also.
Yeah. I can't nowadays I can't find my old website anymore, but I have taken the text and the pictures, so I have the content, but I can't see it anymore on the web. No.
Yeah, because you were so early there, so I don't know if archive.org or this how to say robot system that took pictures, you could say snapshots on what's on the internet, if it was around already at that time. But very fascinating story, Carina.
Yeah. So when social media began with Facebook and so on, I was not that keen on to get Facebook at the first time. So I waited for some years, but nowadays I like it very much, and I like Instagram, and that's appealed to me because I'm a person who thinks in pictures. So I have a thought, and then I have a picture. So Instagram is fantastic for me.
Yeah, and I mean now it's owned by Facebook, so it's got lots of backing and support there. And I see, working with new media, that I see the potential of Instagram and how it's developed. Sometimes it's pretty like a copycat or like Snapchat and so on, but they have the fan base, the user base, and they have a big support, and it's easy to use. So I see a huge opportunity for Instagram in the long run. And I see that myself also, that created now a new account for my T-book, and how you could find statistics and what you could do outreach, and also link in the pictures and so on, in the photos. So it will be interesting to see how this will develop. So,
Yes,
and now to joke a little bit, I will, how to say, take your hand or give you a lesson on how to use Twitter also in the near future, because I know that you have created an account there also.
Yes, I have a created account, and I need support. So really,
you will get support. That's, I mean, I say that you should use the tools where your listeners, your readers, and your customers, and your fans are. But if I had to pick a social media platform, only one, I would pick Twitter myself.
Yes, okay.
So, and talking about that, do you have plans for creating now with your new career? And please tell more about presentation, information and communication. That's the acronym here for your company name.
Yes.
To have like an international version of that in the future.
Yeah. Nowadays, I speak in front of students, many students. I have lectures in English. So I thought that was a way to go on with my company. So I don't know how much I should say, but not far away, I'm going to release a podcast for me too.
Yes.
And for
Right.
and for another person. Isn't it so? Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So we will talk about that soon again, and be a very interesting project, we could say, but it will be a so-called never-ending project, because when you start with this, you will get hooked on it. I saw here on Libsyn here on their Twitter feed that many people who have started podcasts back in the day, as I have, and I have been struggling with my own podcast, is not here anymore. And I mean, you could stop for different reasons, and then you could come back also. But it's a fascinating how it developed. Podcasting, but they've been around for a long time, so it's not new. But with the development of the smartphones and how you now could listen in an easy way, I think podcast is a great way of spreading your message. If you have a message, hopefully you have that, and you have answered your why question. And also getting feedback and having conversation and adding to the conversation. So I think that's definitely an interesting way to do it.
And podcast, I feel it like it's when it comes to presentation technique, that's a topic that many people need, and they can take it easy if they are just listening to another person, and so that's why I think presentation technique and podcast have a good relation to each other.
Yeah, and in a way, I mean, we have a challenge there to present something when you so-called not see the people who are talking. But of course, you could do video logs and streaming, and you could do other extra material also. And as you said, in some way, it could be very relaxing and enjoyable, and that you could, only concentrating on the listening, but you could do other things at the same time. I think that's one of the main advantages of podcasting, that you could go be out walking the cat, or you could do the dishes or something else. I don't know how it is to listen to podcast at the same time as you're singing, but maybe you could do that also. So you could do a sing back.
I don't think so. There you have to sing first and listen then, or maybe the other way.
Yeah. Do you have any like book tip on an area that you are interested in, or something that you recently have read, or something like that?
Yes, I really have. First, this author, I saw her at TED Talks. She's American, and her name is Amy Cuddy. And this book is fantastic. I can really recommend it. It's called Presence, Bringing Your Boldest Self to Your Biggest Challenges.
Wow.
And the book relates to her investigations about what the body can do for you, but also what it can do against you. And that's very, very interesting. So this is a book. I have it beside my bed. I read it sometimes one chapter, and then I start from the beginning. So really good.
Great. So when I have my solo episode, I have a segment there and a so-called commercial break for an Audible trial. So I will do a search and see if it's listed in Audible as an audiobook also. It's definitely on Amazon, I think. So, and talking about that, to do a short plug for myself, I'm soon to be an author or published author here. So I have uploaded my first book on tea, on black tea, to Create Space, that is owned by Amazon. So I'm now waiting for the proof copy that will land here on the doorstep in a few days, and then I will check it, and then I will press OK, and then it will be available through Amazon. So that's I'm looking forward to that day. And I could say then also that I've written and also said in my latest solo episode that I will start another podcast on tea.
On tea,
so,
yes, of course.
Yeah, on tea. Yeah, and talking about that, favorite, in my case, it's tea is favorite beverage, and I'm right now drinking black tea, like an extra strong blend by Tetley, and I like that slogan that they have. It starts with T. You could say the letter T, and you could say also as a word. It starts with T, and that company now is owned by a big, you could say, organization called Tata in India, and he owns. My former career there was a purchase in the welding industry, so he owns steel industry, he has car manufacturing, and all kind of things, but also tea. So Tata, the family Tata in India, owns now Tetley tea brand. So I had that extra strong blend with different black teas, and then also then Assam black tea from Assam. So what's your favorite beverage, Carina?
Oh, my favorite beverage is something that I have drinking for all my life. I want a nice cup of hot chocolate, hot cocoa. That's really nice. But it should be without whipped cream. So just plain.
Yeah, I like that also, and I've tested it in different ways and different places. So I like cocoa also, and it's interesting to compare cocoa and cacao and chocolate drink with the interest in tea and also coffee when you take it to the history, how been popular beverages through the history. So that's great to hear. And I will do a short question here also on your business card that I got. That's very nice because it's presenting what you're doing, and it's also saying to get your message to stick, to have information about business intelligence, and also to have communication skills there to know how to practice speech and your voice, and also the stage, how to take the stage. So there you have, maybe that could be something, a keyword that you could be found on in the future, because under your name it's saying voice and stage presentation, and I could say even I search for that in how to say situation marks. It was only a few hits, like 24 or something like that. So maybe it's not so searchable. But on the other hand, if you so-called own that phrase and test different ways. I got that tip from our webmaker, Kai Lundén, because now I'm creating content for my tea blog, is to, for example, search for black and then underscore or space T and then space and then start with a letter like A and see what shows up. Of course, that could be a long list of topic ideas, and you could be a bit overwhelmed in a way. But instead of owning like the keyword presentation, because when I search for presentation, information, communication, as it is, it was like 13 million hits. So that's pretty huge number to be able to catch. But it's interesting how you could be found. So as an ending, do you want to say something about that? How do you do an ego search, or why, or if you do it at all, or if you have some thoughts on this?
Yes, I do a lot of searching, not so much on myself, but when I do it on myself or in other subjects, I think I do a search very neatly, so to speak. And I always look at page 3, 4, 5 in a search, because you can find very interesting things about a subject or a person, not on the first spots. So look at the other sides, the other pages.
Yeah, I think that's a very, and please continue, a very great tip there, because I mean, people are racing for the first page, and of course, you have market players that are into this game, of course, to say you could buy ads and so on in order to find on the first page, but the first page is only 10 hits, as it is on at least the main search engine. But as I said, DuckDuckGo is more rolling list. But I think that was a great tip to see what do you find on page 3, 4, etc. And you could learn something about that. So I think what is a great tips there, Carina. Anything else that you want to say about this topic,
I give you
about
one,
searching?
I can give you one more tip, and that's do a specific search, so much as you can, because you can put words together, and then you have not to search so much. So you take all the information you have about a person or about a subject or something, and do a specific search. Then you get you get right on the spot, much easier.
And that's great to hear, and that's what a search engine that I liked, that because it was like a character from a favorite movie and book with Jeeves, the gentleman's gentleman, and ask.com, where you could search as you're talking or speaking. So it's still around, but I don't think it's so used nowadays. So I think that was a great tip there. And then I could do like a call to action here to do an ego search, and also do a specific search and search on page 3, 4, 5, etc. and see what you come up with. And please come back to me and to my guest, Carina Ridenius, and tell us your findings. So, Carina, where could the listener find you on the interwebs?
They can find me at my website, www.pik.nu. And
yes, that's now in English. In Swedish.
Now in English, yes. And then I have a blog. They could read once in a week. And they can find me on Facebook, PIK Presentationsteknik AB, LinkedIn and Instagram, and soon on Twitter.
And soon on Twitter, and soon on a podcast.
Yes.
Great,
yes.
Carina. So anything else you want to add before we wrap up here?
No, I just want to thank you for inviting me to this podcast. Really, thank you.
And thank you very much for taking your time, Carina. It was a pleasure, and talk to you soon again, and see you. Cheers.
Cheers.